Hi, everyone. This video is going to be on sort of the fundamentals of meditation, of why we meditate and how to meditate. So if you'll give me a second, I'm going to share my screen. So what is meditation? The easiest way to understand meditation is that it's a way of training mental attention in a very deliberate way, in a way that you choose. And it's important to also understand is there are many, many ways to meditate, and they all have different benefits. What we're going to talk about today is actually mindfulness meditation, which is a very specific type. The point of mindfulness is many. What I'm going to talk about is mindfulness allows us to become more intimate and understanding of how our minds work. And when I use the word mind, I'm using it in the way that it is understood in the Insight and Vipassana tradition, which is the heart mind. So when we talk about mindfulness, we're talking about emotion, we're talking about the sensations in the body. We're talking also about how this brain of ours operates. In mindfulness meditation, you can consider it as a skillful way to open the heart and to quiet the mind. And taken further, it is really about starting to understand our habit patterns, how we function in life, the beliefs and filters we bring to all of our experience. So it's a lot, and meditation is the practice. Just as you want to learn to become a better tennis player, you go to the tennis court, you practice with the coach, you will practice the same strokes over and over again, so that when you go to actually play a game, you have those skills to draw upon. Meditation helps us practice mindfulness in a more controlled environment that has fewer distractions. And mindfulness meditation, when we sit to meditate, what we're trying to do is start becoming more present and more aware of what's actually happening in our personal experience during meditation. And then we're able to go out into life and practice mindfulness in life. But we need to build the muscles first. And this is what meditation offers to us. And in meditation and in mindfulness, attitude is everything. As we're practicing, we want to be open. We want to be really curious. Because we want to start understanding. So if we think we know everything, our mind will be closed. We want to be curious. We want to make a sincere effort. We want to be friendly towards ourselves and towards our experiences as well. And this leads to the non-judging sort of attitude we want to take. Because if we start judging our experience of meditation, we're no longer meditating, we're now thinking, and we're lost in thought again. The thoughts of what's wrong, why am I doing this wrong? I can't meditate, I'm not good at this, I'll never learn. So there you go, you're lost on a train of thought and you're no longer meditating. And it's really important to be interested, and it is interesting. It can sometimes feel, especially in the beginning phases, that you're doing the same thing day in, day out, but just like when you want to play tennis, you're going to do the same thing day in, day out until it becomes more and more natural, and you can call upon it, even during a stressful game where every shot counts. It's also important to know what meditation is not. A lot of people think meditation, and why they don't do it is because they'll sit down and they think as they meditate, they're supposed to be able to turn off their minds. Well, no, the human mind likes to think. That's what it does. That's its function. So it's not about sitting quietly in some room and having no thoughts. In fact, one of the things we do become mindful of is our thought processes, not just the process of how we think, but also what our thoughts are about and how thoughts will arise almost on their own and go away on their own if we don't do anything about them. So it is not about sitting quietly in a room and not having thoughts. Meditation is not a religion. In fact, meditation type practices, contemplative practices, are found in most, if not all, spiritual traditions. It does meditation, mindfulness meditation, vipassana, insight meditation, do come from a tradition that was developed or rediscovered, I like that word better, by the Buddha 2,600 years ago in South Asia. And he used it as a tool. It's not religious. He never meant it for it to be religious. So just as you don't need to be a Hindu to practice yoga, yoga is a tradition in Hinduism, you don't need to be Buddhist to practice meditation. So it is not a religion. It's not, although it is very relaxing, it can be extremely relaxing because as our minds are always so busy, always on, always, going to the past, going to the future, that when you start meditating and keep on bringing in as you get better and better at keeping your mind in the present moment, it can feel very relaxing. And it can be used for relaxing, but mindfulness meditation, that is not its primary goal. There are meditations that are purely for relaxation, purely for sleep. This is not what we're doing here. And it's not a quick fix. Even the most elite tennis players continue to practice every day. And even the most mindfulness meditators who've been practicing for 40 or 50 years, they still have a daily meditation practice, as do I. So how do we create a supportive environment for meditation? Well, people always want to know, well, am I supposed to sit on the floor? Or is it okay to sit in a chair? It really hurts me to sit on the floor. You want to sit comfortably in a posture. Sit. You can lie down. You can walk and meditate, and you can stand and meditate. But in the beginning, let's start with sitting comfortably. If it's in a chair, try to sit towards the front of the chair so that your feet can be on the ground. I'm short, so I will often put a cushion behind my back. You want to be comfortable but alert. You do not want to be casual about this because obviously you're going to start falling asleep. And if that happens, don't judge the fact that that happened. Just realize that, oh, this makes me much calmer and maybe this allows me to sleep. If this keeps on happening, then there's certain things you can start trying to do so that you can actually meditate. You want to sit in a quiet room, away from others if possible. You want to turn off the phone, the TV, keep it as quiet as possible, but knowing that you can't turn off all noise. In fact, over time, sound might actually become part of your meditation practice. People always also want to know, where should their hands be? Well, in your lap. If you're a yoga practitioner and there's certain ways you've learned to hold your hand during yoga meditation, that's fine. There are very formal positions for the hand. It's not really that important. You just want them to be resting comfortably on your legs or in your lap. And you can keep your eyes open or closed. It's often easier in the beginning because it is another way to minimize distraction by closing your eyes. You're not seeing what's in the room. But if that doesn't feel comfortable, or if you find you're getting sleepy, here's one of the techniques. Keep your eyes sort of half open, like hooded, if you understand what that is. and just resting on a point, 5 or 6 inches or a foot in front of you, and just resting it gently. It's not about laser focus or anything like that. And if you prefer to breathe through your mouth or breathe through your nose, that's fine. It can be more soothing to breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. You can try it, play around with it, see what works for you. I meditate with my mouth closed. Had to think about that for a second. And at the beginning of a meditation practice, I will often guide participants into sort of a calming phase at the beginning, because we're always running around and we're busy and we're distracted. So at the beginning of the meditation is a good time to start beginning to calm and relax the body and the mind. So one way to do this is by taking a few deep breaths, like filling the lungs more than normal and fully emptying the lungs more than normal. This stimulates the vagus nerve, which also allows more relaxation. And it also gives you a chance, if you're going to meditate, using your breath as your anchor. That's the next thing I'm going to talk about. It's also a good way for you to start noticing, where do you feel your breath the easiest? Where does it feel most strong, like where you're able to stay with it easier? This could be at the nostrils. For most people, that's not where they notice it the most. It's actually in the rise and fall of the chest or the abdomen, the belly. Or you might even notice it at the back of the throat as the air goes in and out, almost like a swirling at the back of the throat. So just start noticing, where do you find it easiest to attend to the breath? And then meditation, in this case, our mindfulness meditation, is not a breathing exercise. After taking those few breaths to calm and relax, you allow the breath to flow naturally. And usually you want to, before you even start the meditation, is decide what is it that you're going to pay attention to. So meditation is about attitude. You want to be open, friendly, curious. And you also want to know, what am I going to try to focus my attention on? Again, because we've been running around, our mind's going there, here, everywhere. For a lot of us, we have to start by refocusing, recollecting our attention. And so the very first step of practice for mindfulness is learning to do that. So you choose an anchor, and this is traditionally the breath, wherever you feel it the most easily. It could be a body sensation, such as the sensations in your hand or your feet, or in the entire body, or in different parts of the body, scanning through the body. It could be sound. That's the way I learned to meditate 12 years ago, was on sound. So as you can see, you can create the environment that works the best for you. So play around, like really give it a try. If you're going to try the breath, at least try it for 2 or 3 days. If you find, then try the body sensations, try sound, and you'll find out what works best for you. And as time goes on, you'll see you can add more and more of the body in your awareness. Another thing you can do to make it easier for you to actually sit down to meditate is try to pick a consistent location. If you're sitting on the floor and that feels comfortable to you, having your meditation cushion, maybe in a quiet corner of your bedroom or your office. If it's a chair, same thing, putting it in the corner, leaving it there. If you want to wear a shawl or a blanket, keeping that there. Trying to have that consistent location. I have it in the corner of my bedroom, and as soon as I see it, my mind starts to settle down, because I know I'm about to go meditate. So it becomes almost like a cue. And if you can also try to meditate around the same time every day, I know that's not always possible. It's not always possible for me because of my son's schedule. But I do know that for me, the best time to meditate is in the morning. And it's actually better for me to meditate after I've done some light activity like yoga or gone for a walk. It just seems to be easier to be relaxed. And remember our attitude. We want an attitude of friendliness. We're not judging our experience. You're going to sit down one day and have a really great meditation, and it's easy to relax. The mind is quiet. And the next day, you're going to sit down and your mind is going to be all over the place because of everything that's happened that day. And that's fine. That's just being with the experience as it is in that moment. So there's only really two instructions for meditation. It's easy to learn, not always easy to do. So you've got your anchor, that's the breath. You're either keeping your attention on your anchor. And when I say attention, I'm not saying laser focus. You're not like bearing down on that anchor. You're keeping a soft attention on the anchor. So if that's the breath, just try to stay with the breath wherever you've chosen to be aware of it. And then when you notice your mind has drifted away and you're lost in thought or you're thinking, great. The moment of noticing is actually your moment of mindfulness. Just gently, kindly bring your attention back to your anchor and don't judge yourself. Your mind is doing what it's been allowed to do at its own will for much of your life. So this is going to happen. And judgment is just then another train of thought. So that's it. Either your attention's on your anchor or you're noticing your mind is drifted and you're bringing it back to the anchor. And you're going to practice this over and over again. And you can think of, if your mind is super busy, you can think of every time you notice that your mind is really busy, you're actually practicing mindfulness. And that's another practice. Like every time you notice, you get another chance to practice mindfulness over and over again. So that's great. And the first thing you sit down that you're going to notice, I'll just give you the insight, is your mind. You have monkey mind. That's what we call it. Your mind loves to just jump around from here to there. And it's just incredible how it can go from one idea to another idea to another idea. But quickly, you're going to start noticing the difference between being lost in thought and being mindful of the fact that you're thinking. So why do we meditate? I've kind of alluded to this just as we practice tennis with the coach over and over and over and over again to get better at tennis. We don't practice to get better at tennis in the game. We don't practice meditation to get better at meditation. We will get better, I guess. It'll be easier to get into a meditative or contemplative state, but we don't practice meditation to get better at meditation. We actually practice meditation to get better at life as we begin to understand more and more ourselves, as we learn to practice the heart practices such as loving kindness and self-compassion. Life will start to unfold differently. I've had so many benefits from my meditation practice. One of the things you become aware of is that inner voice that's always in dialogue with you, telling you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, what that person over there is doing right, or how dare they say that, or my gosh, that voice never shuts down. As I meditate, the more and more I've become more aware of it. And then I've learned not to always listen. It's not always giving me the best advice. It's not actually always the truth, because I can see more clearly the situation. But the first time I really got to notice that inner voice, which goes with me everywhere, was during meditation practice. I know that I can return to my breath at any moment when I notice I'm getting, carried away, maybe by anxiety or tension. And sorry, I'm just going to bring it back to me. So when I notice that I'm starting to ruminate and, about something that's happened, and we rarely, unfortunately, as human beings, ruminate about the good things. We may remember them sometimes, but we tend to ruminate about, what didn't work, what was wrong. And I'll still ruminate, or I'll start stressing about the future, but at least some of the times now I catch myself and realize, is this really what I want to be doing right now? Is there something else I could put my mind to? So I continue to practice. I continue to get better at meditating and hopefully getting better at life. And thank you for being here. I hope you heard something that made you interested in possibly trying a meditation practice. Thank you. Have a great day.